What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here. Welcome to day 99 of the 365-day graphic novel review challenge. Today, I want to talk to you about Darth Vader, Volume 3, The Shu-Torun War. Now, before I get into the actual book here, there is a crossover called Vader Down that takes place in between Volume 2 and Volume 3 of the ongoing Darth Vader series. And I knew that going into this. Connor Nielsen had actually told me that, but my library does not have the Vader Down story, so I chose to skip it and just go straight into Volume 3, and I wanted to see how readable this volume would be while skipping that crossover. And the good thing is, that crossover, it's its own story. This does not really have anything to do with that crossover. It is noticeable that some things happened in between Volume 2 and Volume 3 in that crossover if you're skipping it, but I don't think that the crossover is absolutely essential when you're reading this book. For example, Dr. Aphra, who is Darth Vader's secret ally that he's been working with over the last 2 volumes, she is not present at all in this book. She has been kidnapped by the rebels, and that's something that happened in the Vader Down story, and that comes back into play at the very end of this book, but she's not here, and if you do skip the Vader Down story, that will be noticeable, obviously. You may be thinking, hey, wait a minute, what about Dr. Aphra? Now, obviously, they do their best to let you know what order to read these books in, because at the end of Volume 2, it says continued in the Vader Down story, so if you read Volume 2, you should know that there is the Vader Down story that you need to read next, but if you're just looking at the numbers on the spines of these books, it goes 1, 2, 3, this is number 3, even though there is a story that takes place between 2 and 3. So that is a little bit confusing. Also, you've got this ongoing subplot in Volume 2 where Darth Vader is investigating this son that he just found out that he had, and that is not mentioned at all in this volume because that's something that is addressed in the Vader Down story, I believe. Like I said, haven't read the Vader Down story, so I don't know that that's something that happened there, but I think it is. So anyway, this story, you can read it without reading the Vader Down story. In fact, this story is completely divorced from everything that happens in the previous 2 volumes. So if you really liked what was going on in the previous 2 volumes, you might not like this story because it almost feels like a completely different series. You've still got Darth Vader, he's still doing stuff for the Empire, and you've still got those 2 hilarious droids who are my favorite characters in the series. I keep calling them Evil 3PO and Evil R2. I don't remember their names. The Evil 3PO is 000, but they are basically Evil C-3PO and Evil R2-D2. They are murder droids, and they are hilarious. They're my favorite characters in this book. You've still got them, you've still got the Emperor treating Vader like garbage, and then you've still got a couple of these rivals that the Emperor has working for him, and he told Vader, you're going to have to work well with them, and don't kill them. If you do, I'll be mad. You've still got some of that going on here, but then you've also got that guy who was working with Darth Vader in Volume 2. I can't remember his name. He was bald, he had a monocle, he had a goofy-looking mustache thing. He was introduced in Volume 2, and then he's not present in this volume until the very end of this volume. And then, if you were just jumping into this volume, you might be a little bit confused about who that guy is. Remember, yesterday, I talked about how this series does a really good job of balancing between standalone stories and overall arc. I think this book is where that kind of stops being true, because this entire story is basically one long storyline, and if you jump in the middle, you're going to see that Darth Vader is on this mining planet, and he's helping this queen fight this war, and you may be a little bit confused what he's doing there. Why is he there helping this queen fight this war? That's because if you don't read the entire story, it's not going to make as much sense. Now, this is still a very good story. I just don't think that it is as good at giving you all the stuff that you need if you jump in halfway into the storyline as previous volumes of this series were. But overall, I think if you are reading this series in order, this is still very good. I don't really have any problems with it because I have more or less been reading it in order. The only thing that I didn't read was Vader Down, and I don't have access to that. But reading this volume along with the previous 2 volumes, I'm still really digging this series, and I cannot wait to see what else Kieran Gillen and Salvador Larroca are going to do in this series. So I, once again, am going to recommend that you read this Darth Vader series. This is the Shu-Torun War. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will be back tomorrow with a different video. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.